I'm pretty sure I just violated the owner's manual with that move. I better try again. See if I can do what's recommended in the owner's manual. I'm pretty sure I just violated it there too. I didn't have much room. Let me try here. Nah, I'm pretty sure I blew it. I just can't get the hang of what the owner's manual recommends as far as shift points. Hey everyone, today I'm going to talk to you about the owner's manual's recommended shift points. And if you've ever paid any attention to it, you'll probably agree with me that they are pretty far-fetched and almost impossible to do, especially on a VMAX. In fact, if there are no cars, I will try and demonstrate how painful it is to hit the shift points. I'm supposed to shift out of first at 12 miles an hour, which is right there. Barely even got in the street. I'm supposed to shift the next one at 19, which is right there. And the next one at 25, right there. And then 31 right there. I'll try it again. This time we'll try and keep an eye on it, particularly if I don't have anybody behind me. We'll try and keep an eye on it. Okay, first one at 12 miles an hour. According to the manual, right there, that's about 1500 RPMs. Engine's lugging a little bit. Second one is 19 miles an hour, which is right, just about past it. Right there, almost 2000 RPMs. I'm going downhill even, and it's lugging a little bit. Next one is 25. Right there, about 2000 RPMs. And the last one at 31, which is right there at about 2000 RPMs. And of course it's slightly uphill, a little bit of lug on the engine. But anyway, I don't know if anybody does that normally, because most of us probably just go by feel, and that doesn't even feel right. So there is nothing about those recommended shift points that appeal to me at all. And what I think is missing in that is, if you just read it and think, okay, why would they be recommending you shift at such a low RPM? And my only guess would be for fuel economy, which is interesting. It doesn't say that, but I will throw up on the screen an excerpt of my old V65 Magna owner's manual, and a couple of things that are interesting with this. First is that it clearly states that it's for fuel economy. So in order to get the, I guess, the proclaimed fuel economy that the manufacturers put out, you would have to shift at those points, which probably explains why nobody ever gets the claimed miles per gallon, because nobody's going to shift at that low of an RPM, not every time. That's why it's often hard to find anybody that's getting the miles per gallon that the manufacturer claims that you would be able to get, because just nobody rides like that. But anyway, it's interesting that at least the Magna way back when, decades ago, stated that that was how to get the best fuel economy, and those were the shift points. But another thing that I find interesting about that old manual, the shift points are identical to the shift points on the VMAX some several decades later. And of course the only difference is that the V65 Magna had 6 gear, what it called overdrive. This is more like it. That's probably closer to how most people ride their motorcycles. But anyway, so a couple of interesting things there that, again, the shift points are identical. And I happened to look up the shift points on the latest version of the Goldwing, which I'll be getting next year. And for the Goldwings that have the manual transmission, I was curious as to what their shift points would be. And as you can see on the screen, coincidentally, they are identical to not only the VMAX, but also the V65 Magna. And again, because the Magna and the Goldwing both have 6 speeds, 6 gears, both of them at their top gear is at 37 miles an hour. So that is interesting on why those seem to be so popular. And again, it's even different manufacturers and different eras. So the V65 Magna, product of the 1980s, the VMAX 2009, and the latest version of the Honda Goldwing is 2018. Now I can't speak for other bikes and other years. Those happen to be the only 3 that I've looked up or have owned. But again, that's very curious as to why they all have the same shift points. Now another interesting thing is the downshift points. Now to me, this is so bizarre that it has to be a typo. This clearly has to be a mistake, and it's nothing that they would expect you to ever do, because all of the downshift points are identical at 16 miles per hour. So when you get below 16 miles per hour, only then are they recommending that you shift from 5th to 4th, 4th to 3rd, so on and so forth. So that clearly makes no sense, because again, I think instinctively we all know when to downshift, so that when we need to pick up speed again, we have enough RPM to take off and we're not lugging. But clearly at those speeds, if you went from 5th to 4th below 16 miles an hour, you are not taking off again in 4th gear without some serious problems. So that just doesn't make sense at all. So, and considering the downshift points in other manuals, and I'll throw that on the screen, I clearly think that the VMAX manual is simply a typo. There's no way that could be accurate. But anyway, that's just another one of those interesting things that I found in the owner's manual. It's interesting that today's owner's manuals do not mention fuel economy like the manual from 1983 did. So anyway, I'm just curious as to what your manuals might say for those of you that have owned other bikes than the VMAX and currently own bikes different than the VMAX. What does it say about shift points? And does it say anything about fuel economy? So please chime in the comments as usual, generate a discussion, enlighten us on what else is going on with other bikes. So that's about all I have to offer on this topic. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.